Holy fireworks, flight checkers. It is season 1.5, episode 4 of Flight Check International Edition. Worlds has moved past the group stage, and just like every year, we had one LPL favorite team do an absolute choke job. Only C9 was able to get out of groups for NA. One EU team looked pretty good, a little rough in the best of ones, but is expected to do okay in best of fives. LCK got all four of their teams out of groups. Big shocks, right? It's like the script writers couldn't be bothered to write something different for once. Come up with a new idea, guys. It's about time. We've had 3 or 4 years now of the same world script over and over. I'm, looking forward to something new, hopefully. My name is Sandy Toes, and to my left and my extra left are my fellow co-hosts of the show, Noxwar and Curly Double Q. Fellas, how was your week? Mine involved a lot of Worlds watching. I don't know about you. Nox, let's start with you. What have you been up to this past week?
I have been the most unproductive human being ever this past week. I don't know if I ever sent the picture in the Discord, but I took a picture of my setup of where I have my one monitor with work, and then the other was Worlds, and I was not productive at all this past week. Thankfully, the workload wasn't too bad this past week. So this past couple of days where there hasn't been any Worlds, I've been catching up slowly but surely. It's probably going to go down the drain again on Friday as well as Monday. But then after that, we should be smooth sailing work-wise.
Hey, makes sense.
But no, this past week's been pretty good overall. It's been a fun group stage.
For sure. Curly, how are you? How are things? How's the Eevee to your left there?
The Eevee? Yes. The Eevee that you can't see in camera.
Can't see in camera, but there's the Eevee. Yeah.
There it is. But I'm doing pretty well, watched as much Worlds as I could while balancing school and work and all that stuff. And went on a nice mini vacation after my birthday.
Not bad.
So that was just a good weekend overall. Especially Sunday morning, I got to watch 2 games of League of Legends before I went and met up with the people that I was going to Cedar Point with.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a fun time. Loved the roller coasters there. But my last match before we went off was Fnatic beating RNG, so I was like, all right, these are good omens. Sadly, that didn't pan out in the end, but hey, it was something, and it set a good precedent for how the rest of the trip went, regardless of how Fnatic performed.
Yeah, at least they were sending you off with some good vibes,
Absolutely. Well, and then Monday morning, because I have this thing where when I go on vacation, I am always up early. When it's time to leave, I am one of the first people awake. And then when we're at wherever we are for vacation, I'm usually up before everyone, no matter how late we stayed up the night before. It's just how I am. My vacation clock is better than my school clock. If I'm being honest. So Monday I got to wake up, just sit, have a cup of coffee, watch some Worlds, and wait for everyone else to wake up.
Hey, there you go. Not too shabby.
All right.
Good week.
Yeah, for myself, a lot of Worlds watching. Pretty busy. I 2 weeks ago, in my rec soccer league, I think I had a very minor sprain of my left knee, so I took last week off. Didn't play, just stayed off of it, that kind of thing. And then it was feeling good, so I was like, okay, I'll go play. So I went and played this past Tuesday night, or last night, I guess it was. And, the knee was fine, but I was making a run down the left wing and managed to pull my hamstring in the same leg. So my left leg just really sacking it, really inting, full turbo inting down left lane, if we're going to turn league phrases into soccer phrases. My left leg just inted that play for the team. So hopefully, yeah, my left leg is FPX. Yeah, my left leg really choked on me for sure.
I was gonna say, or you're the Birdall of Gen G.
Yeah, or I'm Birdall. My left leg is Birdall. I mean, that is the other option. But anyway, I should be good to play again next week. Next week, I will just make sure I stretch a bit more thoroughly, and I should be good to go.
Stretching is important, man.
Stretching is important.
You got to give your legs some scrims before you play, right?
Yeah, I gotta scrim my legs a little bit more often. That's for sure. Knox, what were you saying?
Do you follow Jordan Tsai on Twitter or?
I think I do, maybe not. I'm not exactly sure.
Let me make sure I'm using. Jordan Tsai or Dr. Respawn.
Yeah, he's the esports doc, right?
Yeah, he's like the physical therapist.
Nice.
He's got like lots of cool videos and stuff on his Twitter if you ever want to go look at like lots of different stretches.
Yeah,
like actually really really good.
I'll have to go check that out. All right. Well, groups are done. We had 3 banger groups, I would say. And 1 less than banger, but still somewhat interesting. I would classify groups A and D as some of the most fascinating, entertaining, interesting groups I have ever seen at a Worlds tournament. I mean, let alone that it was, Group A, Cloud9 getting out, or Group D, you had the 4-way tiebreaker, and Team Liquid battling to try and get out. I would even argue Group C was super entertaining with, the battle between Hanwha Life and RNG, PSG kind of being in the mix a little bit, Fnatic doing whatever they were trying to do, a lot of interesting stuff, but the big takeaway for me was LCK gets all 4 of their teams out of groups, something that I don't know if a lot of people would have predicted. I think, I know I for sure had PSG getting out ahead of Hanwha Life in that group.
I did too.
So that was a big surprise. The other big surprise to me was every team except Hanwha Life from the LCK getting first seed. So Damwon, not a surprise, but T1 and Gen G both getting first seed. Big surprises, at least to me. Nox, just looking at LCK, is it year of LCK? Is it the year of Korean dominance? Are they back to just kind of take over the tournament?
Yeah, at this point, absolutely. I am not surprised at this point whatsoever. I think overall, even T1 taking. I was probably like one of the only doubters, and y'all can fact check me on this. I've said it in the past, but I didn't trust EDG for crap.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't. I think they're honestly probably going to get their asses kicked in quarterfinals against RNG, and that'll be the end of it. And I'll sit there going, "I was right about one thing." So yeah, for me at the end of the day, I'm not too surprised. I think honestly, if anything, if 100 Thieves hadn't been in their heads so much, I don't think EDG would have made it through groups. But at the end of the day, 100 Thieves had a terrible mental, and EDG ended up capitalizing on it, and that is what it is. But then I think the only other one I was super surprised by was how good HLE looked. Like coming into this tournament, unanimously, granted they were the 4th seed obviously, but I think everyone was like, yeah, no, it's probably going to either be PCS or before upset left, Fnatic, right? No one was counting HLE in it, and instead they end up taking second against the really close game that was a tiebreaker against RNG, right? So at the end of the day, no, I'm not surprised by Korean dominance, but I was surprised by some of the lower end Korean teams looking as good as they did.
Yeah. Yeah, Curly, I think that Group C is probably the super interesting one when it comes to LCK, only because Dom1 and T1 expected to make it out, right?
Absolutely.
Gen G, you
consistently strong.
Yeah,
you know.
consistently strong, but you also had people be like, look, if everything goes right, and, for other teams, Genji could not make it out. But then Hanwha
Yeah,
was the team that everyone was like, yeah, they probably won't make it out. Uh,
100%.
in it with the Fnatic shakeup, a full strength Fnatic might have proved very differently in this group. Um, so, I mean, is it at this point? Do you think it's still the Chovy and Chovy and Four Wards show, or is it or are they showing more strength than people previously thought?
I think I think both are correct. I do think it's still Chovy is like a crucial player on that team, but the rest of the team has stepped up more than people thought they would, myself included. That being said, I do firmly believe that a Fnatic with upset, or a Fnatic that had a week to know that they didn't have upset, um, would have been able to make top two, because in their one game that they did win against RNG, they looked pretty good. And then even on some of their like lost games, in the first round robin, they looked like they had their moments. In fact, I remember, I'm pretty sure it was the game against Hamon Life to kick everything off. For the first 10, 15 minutes, I thought they looked pretty good, and then they just slowly threw it away. Um,
The
so
second game was even better against Hanwha.
absolutely, absolutely. But they still lost it. But with Hanwha Life, I don't. There's no way they beat T1 for sure.
Mm.
In fact, the civil war on both sides of the knockout stage is kind of a blessing for the West right now, because if we can do our jobs in taking down the Korean representatives that we have to, that opens things a lot more for the potential that we could maybe get to the finals, or at least have some of the best performance, especially for NA, that we've had in a minute. But with your question earlier, where you're like, is this a year of LCK? I do kind of think it might be, because last year, once Damwon won Worlds, I remember in the Discords I was active in, I was like, oh no, is it the return of LCK dominance? Like, this is the last thing I want, because it's not against the LCK, but I
Right.
want legitimate competition, And I was like, the last thing I want is just to return to LCK dominance, and I was afraid that was the case. And then especially, I did not give Faker and T1 the credit that I should have, with pretty much every Korean team showing up way more than I thought they would. Things are looking scary. Things are looking scary for the West.
Yeah, and we'll get into quarterfinals in a bit, but I do think the bracket and the way it all shook out is super interesting for sure. We can even get into some format discussions, because I know that I've seen a lot of that going around. As always, around this time of year, there's always format complaints and discussions to be had. But just looking still at groups, I mean, we have to talk about Cloud9. The
100%.
perennial North American hope. I mean, if you'll recall, last year when we did not get a team out of groups, C9 wasn't there to get us out of groups. They just, it just didn't happen. They 2019, I believe, they
Yes.
did not get out. We did not get a single NA team out either.
No, I think 2019 was.
No, 2019.
No, 2018 was when we got out.
Yeah, 2018 was the last time.
2018.
Yeah, so, first team from North America to get out of groups since 2018. I mean, that's huge. Love to see it. Of course.
Still the only North American team to make it to quarterfinals since 2014.
Yeah. Cloud9 just doing it once again for North America, the final NA hope.
I do want to take a moment here before we break into anything, and I want to apologize on behalf of NA teams, because I believe I may have curly cursed them, the ones that did not make it out, because if I remember correctly, I vehemently defended Team Liquid as I was assigned, and then stepped up and defended 100 Thieves as to why they are the hope for the West, and said, yeah, C9's a write-off. And lo and behold, the very opposite was true.
Didn't I have to defend C9?
You had C9 and you barely said
C9.
anything.
And well, look, I said something. So who was right in this? Who was ultimately right in their defense?
It was me, because I didn't say jack squat for 100 Thieves, and they didn't make it out.
Well, okay, look.
Well,
details.
and then I think the biggest kick for me is after Monday when C9 lost to Rogue, and I watched that, I was like, yep, write C9 off. They're not doing anything. It's like, and here we are.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's the only team to get out.
It's really incredible that what they did. I mean, 0-3 after 3 days, and then just putting it all together. First beating Rogue, then beating FPX, truly almost having a good shot against Damwon, to beat them as well. Like, that was not a free win for Damwon. And then the absolutely incredible just slugfest to beat Rogue again. So I mean, if you really look at that, in a best of 3 against Rogue, C9 took that 2-1. I mean, I don't really want to talk about what would happen if they played FPX again to settle that best of 3. We don't really need to get into that. But I mean, in this group, a very competitive loss against Damwon, 2-1 over Rogue, and then 1-1 with Fun Plus Phoenix. I think that's a pretty substantially good showing in what was supposed to be a group that was impossible for them to get out of. And I think they got a little lucky with the tiebreakers, with the average or the total victory game time. They got a little lucky that they did not have to play FPX again, and then got more lucky that Rogue was the one to win, and then, Rogue committed enough mistakes that Cloud9 was able to win that game. But I do think that Cloud9 at their peak showed that they can really go toe-to-toe with some very tough teams, and it's exciting. I'm excited to see what they can do in quarterfinals.
For sure, especially against Gen G, and we can get into it more in depth here in a little bit. But I mean, like, of all the teams to draw for quarterfinals, like, that's the one. And granted, you gotta understand, Gen G is probably looking at Cloud9 the same way, right? Like, oh yes, we got Cloud9.
It's really funny because I watched both the Cloud9 draw reaction and the Gen G draw reaction, and both teams were cheering like crazy. Like, both teams were so excited to draw each other. It's like, yes, we both got the easiest draw we could possibly have gotten.
Oh, man.
Which, I don't know exactly who to feel better for in that scenario. Probably Cloud9, if I'm being honest.
Absolutely.
But yeah, both teams very excited to draw each other. Just focusing on the other NA teams real fast. In memoriam to 100 Thieves, the FlyQuest really of their group, of really emulating the 2020 FlyQuest group stage by taking 2 games off the wild card, and then in your final game that was fairly meaningless except for giving T1 the first seed, stepping up, playing out of your minds, and beating EDG.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a nice thing to see. I will say, like, this 3-3 group stage record is a little deceiving in my mind, just because two of those wins were off of DFM. I think you still take those, absolutely. But I mean, DFM 06 in this group, kind of rough. And yeah, I mean, only being able to get one win out of 4 games versus T1 and EDG, a bit of a rough showing. If you take away, if you take away 2 wins from each team, it's like, for those DFM games, it's T1 going 3-1, then EDG 2-2, and 100 Thieves 1-3. So not amazing, but still, like, I would argue a very tough group to get thrown into. Curly, Nox, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about what 100 Thieves looked like. I mean, one thing I have to say is 100 Thieves even barely won one of their games against DFM.
Laser baby.
If it wasn't for the Alistair W into Fountain Laser, DFM might have been able to take that game. That was one thing I did not realize, and I did not know that Fountain Laser bypasses Trindamir's Undying Rage.
I only know that because of ARAM, because I've done it before, and I was very, very shocked and surprised when it happened.
Yeah, I had no idea that Fountain Laser does not, that Undying Rage doesn't. It just bypasses it.
The Fountain Laser is supposed to be all powerful. Aside from like Stopwatch is the only thing I think that would like.
Yeah, and unless you're completely immune, completely, it'll still get you.
Yeah. So did not realize that. So I mean, 100 Thieves could have gone 2-4 in this group, and that could have been.
That would have been a little rough.
That would have been a little more sus. Not sure about that one. I think they're a tough team to discuss because it's like you look at that roster and you're like, I mean, where could they upgrade for next year? I think it's tough to say. Like what better players could they have had on that team that would have made them compete more? And I don't know if that's something you can really say because I think they just got thrown in a very difficult group.
Well, then for me personally, their showing on day one was a little lackluster for what I expected. Even going against EDG, the draft for that match was strange for me. The way they were playing was just kind of odd, and so it just. I think they didn't hit the ground running when they could have.
Yeah.
And I think if they had just been a little bit more prepared on day one, we could have seen a world where they were 4-2 instead of EDG.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to bring up with you guys is, did either of you see the picture that I posted? I don't know if I posted in the actual Flight Check Discord, but I definitely posted in the FlyQuest one. It was Peter Dunn, the coach for Evil Geniuses, was writing during the 100 Thieves game, and he said that Abadage was like in his head, and like he was physically watching him. He wasn't even moving his mouse right. You could tell mentally he just was not there. And so I bring this up because I was curious, because I don't know if you guys saw the thread from Mithy, as well as I want to say, who was the person on Mad Lions? I think it may have just been Mac, the coach for Mad Lions. But both Mithy and Mac both said, after day one, after the first 3 games or whatever, we didn't really scream all that much. We kind of came back. Like Mithy was we went back, we played some board games, we had some beers.
I saw that.
We chatted, we chilled, and Mad Lions did the same thing, right? So I'm actually kind of curious, if you go ask Papa Smithy or anyone on the 100 Thieves staff, what'd y'all do after that first 3 games were done? Did you go scrim some more? Did you go do some more drills, or what? Because I'm leaning towards the fact that's what they did. And then you have Cloud9 and Mad Lions over here, who both had very, very rough starts their beginning of Worlds. And here they are. They both made it through into quarterfinals, even though they had terrible, horrendous starts, right?
Right.
So I kind of wonder, and maybe even you could ask this of Team Liquid too, right? Did Team Liquid go back and do they do more drills, or do they kind of just sit back and chill and all right, whatever, it's fine. We got this, So I kind of wanted your guys' thoughts on it. Of is it more important to just kind of sit back, like not like take the day off, but like just relax. Just go
Yeah.
back, relax. Don't stress. You don't need to do drills. You don't need to go do scrims. Just like, all right, we played today. Look, we already know how we play. We already have the synergy. Just we already know what we need to do, but we need to relax. Is that something that NA teams need to start doing from here on out?
So I'm gonna say yes. Um, yeah, I'm gonna say yes because at some point when you're at Worlds, when you're at the tournament, and you have, I mean, for Cloud9, right? They did not have any time. Like, day 3 ended. They had Thursday off, and then they had 3 games, 4 games ultimately on Friday. So they had a day off to just kind of recuperate, and then it's boom, straight back into it. Now, Mad Lions and Team Liquid, they technically had a lot more time, right? They had 4 days before their second round robin began. If I'm in Cloud9's shoes, yeah, I absolutely take the majority of that Thursday off. Maybe I do like a little bit of scrimming in the morning, just to like stay sharp and maybe just go over some things from the day before, or talk about like some draft stuff or whatever. But yeah, I absolutely just be like, you know what? Let's chill. We've got a really long day tomorrow. Let's not exhaust ourselves, and we'll just hit the ground fresh and running tomorrow. Because at some point, you can only scrim so much. You can only play in solo queue so much, and I don't know really if like 2 more scrim blocks on the night before your second round robin is really going to do all that much to potentially change results. Now, if you're TL and you've got 4 days, I would not take all 4 days off, but
Yeah.
I would go pretty hard for like 3.5 of those days. But yeah, in that case, I would definitely at some point be like, all right, we're taking Sunday afternoon and evening off. Watch the game. Watch the other games being played. Go enjoy Iceland a bit. Do something. You've got a big day tomorrow. Rest up. Yeah, at some point, you know, it's diminishing marginal returns before of how many scrims are really worth it at that point.
Really?
Yeah, I definitely. Um, I think taking that day off is a great call, especially because it brings me back to last year when I was part of a peer leader organization on campus, actually. And part of our training was the segment where they're like, the importance of taking time for yourself, like aside from all of your responsibilities, so that you can like keep that mentality to do your responsibilities. So like they called it sharpening your saw blade. And how it's like if you spend way too much time trying to do like your work and do what you got to do and don't take any time to just make sure you're okay, you're going to be worse at your job and what you're doing. So like taking the day off to bond as a team, to give a mental break from League of Legends, absolutely, I think is a huge boost. And something, I don't know if any of the other teams that made it through did it, but at least for the Western, for like C9 and Mad, definitely helped them. And I think it's something we could get in the habit of, like, just not even just for Worlds, but maybe for future tournaments, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Yeah.
it sounds like we're pretty much all on the same page then.
Yeah, I don't think we're disagreeing on this one for sure.
So if that's the case, then I don't know, like, because I mean, there's not usually a lot of transparency. I'm sure there's probably gonna be a little bit of transparency with Team Liquid whenever what's their show called? I keep wanting to think Crackdown, but it's definitely not Crackdown.
Squad.
Squad, yeah. So
Crackdown.
whenever Squad comes out, I'm sure they'll probably show kind of like their schedule a little bit, like during that time off. But
Yeah.
you don't really get a lot of transparency on what teams do during their days off, right? It's usually kind of like maybe like central narrative storylines on individual players, like what it means to the players to be there, so on and so forth. We don't get a lot of like an idea for the scheduling and what they do in their day to day, right? Which I mean it makes sense because a lot of people watch that content for the people. But for me personally, I'd like to know like, hey, what are y'all doing in your off time? I'd be super interested in knowing like, hey, like on like the last day of groups or whatever for us was like what Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or no, sorry, Thursday? No, Wednesday, right? What was it? Whatever. Either way, my point is like there was 4 days in between.
Yeah.
Where they weren't playing. Like I would actually like to know like what were you guys doing in there? Were you practicing scrims? Were you like going hard, or were you just kicking back, relaxing? Stuff like that is actually stuff like I'm sure like it doesn't hurt for the public to know. If anything, it kind of helps us form opinions and stuff without getting too jaded, I feel.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
I don't know.
I have to assume that 4 days you're definitely scrimming.
Yeah.
I mean, you would assume that. I mean, you're probably not scrimming the teams in your group. You're scrimming the teams that are either waiting to play groups or the teams that have now advanced to quarterfinals. Or you're, I don't know, scrimming some ERL teams, something like that. If you're, desperate for scrims. So, yeah, I would assume that they're scrimming, but hopefully, yeah, there's some time off. I just feel, that, and maybe I think this was a point you made earlier. There's just so much pressure, I think, on the NA teams at times to do well, and I really felt like there was a lot of pressure on Team Liquid, just because the amount of star power on that team. And I think what I will say is that they had such a rough summer. Between Alfari, being benched or, benching himself, whatever it was, Santorin having health issues, I mean, they were basically playing with their academy, top in jungle, for half the split, before, coming back together and stomping their way through playoffs, until finals, obviously. And then, to come here at Worlds and in a very, very competitive group, come pretty close to making it, respectable. And, like, you can look at TL's 3-3 and 100 Thieves 3-3. And, sorry to any 100 Thieves fans in the chat, but, I'm respecting this TL 3-3 a hell of a lot more than the 100 Thieves 3-3. I think the problem is that, in a year, maybe, less, by December, people are going to go back, look at these standings and be like, wow, TL 3-3, wow, they suck, NA sucks. And it's like, no, they got one win off of every single team in this group, who also only got one win off of every single team in this group. Like, this group was so even.
It is the most even group in World's history.
Yeah, this group was so
Absolutely.
even, and, who knows what would have happened if these were all, like, best of threes. Who knows, where TL could have.
Bring in the Swiss system. Sorry,
Bring in literally any other system, or most other systems. But yeah, North America coming very close. Now, here's the thing, just based off of game score wise, 8-10 for NA in groups. Yeah. That's actually pretty good. Like, absolutely. we've had some years where it's like we have a 3-3, a 2-4, and an 0-6. I mean, you had Clutch going 0-6, back in 2019. You had TSM going 0-6 last year.
We had no 0-6 team this year.
We had no 0-6 team. I would argue we performed better than Europe at this tournament.
What do you mean that's an argument? Statistically, it's just
statistically NA greater than EU right now. Between Rogue just looking honestly pretty awful, Fnatic being a complete mess. Obviously the upset, the upset absence being a huge factor there, but Mad Lions themselves, looking shaky at times. I think this was a really strong performance for North America, and with the abundance of talent that's coming up through amateur and academy that I am hoping to see in the league next year, I'm honestly pretty hyped for what Worlds might look like next year when it's actually in North America.
Oh, dude, I'm so ready for next year.
Oh
like,
my god!
I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to Houston because I live in Texas, and then obviously Worlds is here, so I'm going to Worlds at some point next year too. Like, next year's going to be a big year for me in League of Legends. I'm so hyped.
I will be attempting to go to as much of Worlds as possible. Already prepping my my month off basically for that one.
Absolutely. If it's in the budget, I will attend all of the tournaments that I can that are here in America. Yeah. I will see you in Houston. I will try to go to Worlds. I will do all that shit
for sure. All right, let's move on to quarterfinals. Unless there's any final notes or in memoriam takes you guys want to have for any group stage teams.
Let me just address the elephant in the room, and then no other words need to be said. And we can just move on to quarters.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the fourth year Team Liquid, who's known for having the fourth curse of going 3-3 over and over and over and over again. All I need to say. Anyway, quarterfinals, go.
Quarterfinals.
Their fourth year, and in the fourth group, they finished.
Everyone went 3-3. 4 teams.
4 teams going 3-3, and they finish fourth. It just do be like that.
It writes itself.
Where's the Jhin ult?
Yeah, and tactical playing Jhin.
Team
they
Liquid
played Jhin to get to that point.
Okay, Team Liquid Jhin confirmed. It's just.
I will say,
what I'm hearing is
I don't know if you guys have seen those memes where it's like evil whatever be like, and then it's like the opposite of something they normally do. I just saw a meme earlier that was like evil Jhin be like 3 instead of 4.
Living in chat also says FPX mid saying they won't lose after that first week. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah,
we have a 70% win rate in scrims, and then proceed to drop 4 games in a row.
All I'm saying is we almost had a no LPL group stage.
We came close.
1 game difference in groups B and C, and
there
would have been no LPL.
Yep, it could have happened. And then we could have talked about an LPL choke. So moving on to quarterfinals.
You mean LCK versus the world?
LCK versus the world. Some interesting draws. So C9, the moment Damwon gets put on the side of the bracket with T1, C9 gets very excited because it means they can't play T1 and they can't play Damwon, and they end up drawing Generation Gaming. So the weakest 2 seed gets to play the weakest 1 seed. Both teams very excited to draw each other if you look at their respective draw reaction videos. And I believe in the video, C9 players were heard to say that this is the freest finals run ever. Because all they have to do is beat Gen G and then one of RNG or EDG, and they're in finals versus presumably Damwon. So hey, NA in a Worlds finals. I mean, who says no?
I mean, I can see it happening, especially so with Gen G. I want to check my pick'ems for this, but I think I have C9 potentially beating them.
I'm taking C9 purely on the Copium mechanic of it, but yes.
Yeah. All right, actually, my pick'ems disagree, but I'm going to I'm still going to get into why I think C9 has a good shot here, because I debated so heavily on that Gen G or C9. Like, it was not an easy pick, and I've still got time to change it if I want. But Gen G is definitely the best pick NA could have gotten in this, especially because they are the only LCK team that lost to any Western representative at all. Because T1 never lost to 100 Thieves, Damwon didn't lose, and Hanwha didn't even lose to Fnatic. So like they lost to TL and Mad Lion. So this is like the weakest LCK team in my eyes, or at least judging by who they lost to. So this is NA's hope to make it to finals, because like also RNG being the only team to lose to Fnatic in Group C makes me think they're a little weaker than we give them credit for. And then Nox has expressed his doubts with EDG. I personally don't have them, but we can see a C9 finals here. This is the better side of the bracket for it to be possible.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that Gen G is seemingly the weakest Korean team right now, because, you know, pre-tournament, I think we all would have said Hanwha Life, and now it's like, well, you know, are they, or is it just like Chovy is so freaking good? There was an interesting take on Hotline League from, you know, Travis Gafford's show Monday night that was really interesting, and I'm very loosely paraphrasing, so I apologize if I get this wrong, but it was basically that it's not that the LCK teams are so much better than everyone else, it's that all four of those teams' mid laners are so good that they're just elevating the region beyond anyone else. Which I think is a really interesting argument, because, yeah, you look at like a team like Hanwha, and you know, they're, you know, like Morgan and Willer, or even on Gen G, where, you know, Birdall, you know, has been a player. You know,
that's one way of describing it.
He's been playing the game. You know, Clit has not been amazing. I would argue Ruler and Life have not been super stellar, but like BDD on Gen G has been, you know, absolutely insane. I think both T1 and Damwon look really, really good. So I don't know how much the argument, but I mean, again, it's like Faker and Showmaker. You know, you could really argue if four of the best mids in the world, all from Korea, are here in quarterfinals now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, they're really elevating their region above everyone else. I mean, I think you put some other random LCK mid laner in place of Chovy, and Hanwha Life, you know, is not in quarters, let alone at this tournament. So that's...
I'd be inclined to agree with you there.
Yeah, that's my thought on that. So let's just take these one at a time, and, you know, I'll be doing basically my pick'ems live here on the show as we do it. So right now, I have T1 over Hanwha Life, and I doubt that there's going to be any disagreement on the show from you guys on that one.
Actually,
oh boy,
I agree with you.
Oh, okay, there.
Yeah, no, there's like no dissent here.
Yeah.
So
do you see any pathway here for Hanwha, Nox?
I actually do. I was actually going to ask you guys, how certain are you guys of T1? Because my pick is also going to be for T1. I do think T1's going to win, but I do think it's going to be a slugfest, actually.
I agree with you there.
I think T1 will win, and I think Hanwha, but I do think Hanwha could make them look weaker than might be expected. I mean, this side of the bracket, you know, with Damwon and Mad Lions also there, I expect Damwon to just like pub stomp their way through this side of the bracket. Honestly, just pub stomp their way to another world championship, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I think basically whoever wins this best of 5 is just getting an invitation to the Damwon World Championship to get beat up in a likely 3-0 or at best 3-1. So that's just where I'm seeing it go. But specifically for T1 HLE, I just think that T1 stacks up so much better on paper across the board. I do think right now I would argue Chovy is playing better than Faker, but I think the rest of the T1 lineup just matches up so much better than HLE's.
That's literally like to a T what I was gonna say, Sandy.
Yeah,
like
I'm just reading your mind, baby.
Yeah, Chavi has been really, really good.
Yeah.
Not that Faker's been bad. Faker's actually had a very solid tournament so
Faker's
far.
had a good tournament. It's just that, like,
Chavi's a different level.
I mean, who do you want? Who do I want on my team in the top lane? Do I want Morgan or do I want Kana? Do I want Willer or do I want Owner? Like, let's be real here. Do I want Vista or do I want Kyria? I mean, there's an argument, to be made, Deft over Gumayusi. I could see that.
I would agree.
Sure.
I would say Deft over Gumayusi is.
Yeah. But then, it's like, and even then, it's like, Faker versus Chovy is Chovy that so much better than Faker that it cancels out, everything else? I don't think it does.
Then another thing I want to bring into account is just some statistics from the season.
Yeah.
Over the course of the entirety of summer, T1 has just been above Hanwha Life. They finished the summer season in fourth place, whereas Hanwha was down in eighth. They won in a best of 5 in regional finals. And if you, even going back to spring, they were only down by 1 game against Hanwha Life. So, like, in the standings. And so throughout the season, T1's just shown they're the better team than Hanwha Life. And I don't think that's going to change now, even with what I would consider potential overperformance of Hanwha Life, considering people's expectations. So, throwing the players aside, you just see what T1 has looked like over Hanwha all season, and I don't think anything's going to change that on Friday.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Okay, so yeah, T1. I'm going to skip past RNG EDG for now.
Let's a good one.
I know, but I'm saving it. I'm saving it for last.
But then we've got to.
I'm trying to get. Well, okay. Hang on. I want to get through the easy ones first. Damwon versus Mad. I have Damwon in a quick and fast and dirty 3-0. I really don't see this going anywhere else.
I think Curly may disagree with you on this one, Sandy. If you want to, I can see your face, Curly. Let it out.
You're gonna call me crazy. You're gonna say I'm huffing all the hopium,
the EU hopium, which is even more toxic than the NA hopium. Studies have shown. 9 out of 10 doctors would agree. So,
but here's the thing.
Oh boy.
I still firmly believe in Mad Lions, and it's not just because they are my crystal ball pick, all right? It isn't just that. Let's rewind here. MSI 2021 semifinals. It's Mad versus DK, just like we have right now. This is the rematch they've been waiting for. Mad Lions was able to bring them to a best of 5. All right? And granted, they didn't go perfect in groups like they had, or the Rumble stage as they have right now. But I still think Mad Lions in a best of 5 is a beast. In fact, EU best of 5s are just absolutely monstrous. I firmly believe that even if Mad Lions does lose this, they are not going down easily. I do think we're going to hear some silver scrapes. And then, especially after the 4-way tie and everything they had to climb through to get to the groups, the knockout stage, they're just more prepared. Damwon didn't face any challenges. They just walked over Group A and are like, all right, here we are. Mad's got the hunger. Mad's got the fury. They're going to take him down.
That is some spice there, my dude. It's getting hot in here.
So here's the thing.
Mhm.
I don't think you're crazy. I really don't. I see it. You know, hey, I mean, remember, I remember saying before group stage that I could see a path out of groups for every single NA team. I do believe I said for Cloud9 it would require a massive collapse by some team, and lo and behold, look what happened. FPX collapsed. But yeah, I think Mad could absolutely make this a competitive series, but you know, like I had with the you know, pre-group stakes for the NA teams, I could see Mad dropping 0-3 fast and turbo sprinting to the airport.
Not happening.
Or I could see them really slugging it out in a 5-game brawl and even possibly taking it.
Okay.
But I think, you know, I have DK in an 85-15 over Mad.
Do you want me to explain a little bit more than just the passion?
Sure. I mean, I it's not like I think you're completely wrong. I just
it's very statistically improbable.
You know,
I will say
you're pulling a bit of a like Doctor Strange looking through 14.7 million.
I'm the one.
Yeah, to find the one. You know, just the finger trembling. You know, like.
Well, here's what it comes down to. It comes down to the side lanes, because I'll say this: Canyon, probably like better jungler than Elioya. Showmaker, the new Faker. Humanoid, like, they both have serious challenges in their matchups. But I feel with Armament, like, on a good day, as long as he's performing up to par, I'd put him above Khan 8 out of 10 times. So as long as he can get a good lead on Khan, he'll be a powerhouse for Mad Lions in the best of 5, as he has been time and time again. And Kaiser and Karzi, oh my god. They are the best bot lane EU has produced, aside from Upset and Hilly on a good day. Like, just this year, if you ask, like, they're pretty much unstoppable. And if you want to bring it down, I'd put Kaiser and Beryl as equals in terms of supports. And so you got to look at the ADCs. And Ghost just isn't it, man. Ghost is being backpacked by the rest of Damwon. I wouldn't be surprised. Like,
I mean, that's just a Damwon 80 carry tradition at this point. You know,
that's fair. But in the event that Damwon doesn't make it to finals, I wouldn't be surprised if Ghost is replaced next year. And even if they do win finals, who knows? So I think those key differences of Karzi and Armut are huge strengths that Mad Lions are going to have to pull on, and that's where I think we can pull the 3-2 for EU out of.
So, with me being the middle camera here, let me be the median between both of you.
Excellent.
I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to predict it'll be a 3-1 victory in favor of Damwon. However, all 4 games will be absolute, utter slugfests that are all be over 35 minutes long. Every single one of them. Like, this is going to be one of the best series to watch at Worlds this year. That is my prediction for this series.
No,
I don't think Mad's going to be able to take it, but it's going to be gnarly, and there's going to be a lot of crushed EU fans afterwards, but everyone should be walking away going, that was a respectable showing.
Yeah, I think that's a respectable take. I think, I think Mad could absolutely surprise the world, but I also think that they could really turbo sprint. So instead of airport any % world record. So
I guess on Sunday we'll just have to see.
We'll just have to see. Okay, so still Damwon for me there. All right, we'll do RNG EDG now. Now this is the tough one. Because I do not have, out of the 4 matches, I have clear personal favorites for three of them, except for RNG EDG. So I'd like to be convinced one way or another. I'm not sure where you gentlemen are leaning. Knox.
You should know where I'm leaning. Come on, Sandy.
Okay, Knox clearly on the EDG side. Duh. I mean, no.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah, Knox for RNG. Curly, how do you feel about EDG here?
Absolutely better than RNG.
Okay, excellent.
The only reason
I need both of you to do your best to convince me which one should be my pick'em this week. Waiting for, I believe their match is Saturday morning. What way should I lean? RNG or EDG? This is Knox. It's your turn to get into the debate, and then I'll make my decision known.
So, if you go look at the group stage for both RNG and EDG, right?
Looking.
Specifically for EDG, right? They had the first game against T1, had a pretty good showing against it. Basically, the full first week, right? EDG looked solid. They went 3-0. Every Chinese team looked good the first week. And then immediately afterwards, it was like, China's collapsing. China sucks. They went 0-8 against the West. What's happening right now? And Edward Gaming looked terrible against 100 Thieves, right? Like, just awful. And they got stopped by T1 too. And even the Detonation FM game against them, like, they still beat Detonation FM, obviously. But, I mean, it was not the cleanest game. Then you go look at RNG. They went 2-1. They went, was it 1-2, and then they won the tiebreaker against Hanwha? Was that what it was? So it was 2-2. So Hanwha was having a resurgence, and they still managed to clutch it out in the tiebreaker. On top of the fact that Fnatic showed up for one game, which, I mean, it's Fnatic. They always show up for at least one game. They had clean games against PSG for the most part, outside of like the one tower dive in the first game against PSG where basically RNG kind of threw it, they got swept. Like the other game was pretty clean for the most part. Like RNG's just looked cleaner than EDG has this tournament so far. So coming into this, on top of the fact that I don't trust EDG for crap, they've never looked good past quarterfinals. RNG takes this 3-2.
See, here's my defense. RNG took a group that should have been an easy 6-0 for them. They had a broken Fnatic, and under people who were under expecting Hama Life. They had the 4th seed from the LCK, and they had the PCS. This should be easily 6-0able for RNG. And they managed to be the only team to lose to a broken Fnatic, where Fnatic couldn't perform against anyone else except them. And you really think they're going to beat EDG?
Yep.
The only team that was able to take down T1 in their group?
Yep.
Not at all. Not at all possible. EDG took down T1, who are, we all agreed, are the favorites against Hanwha Life. And so, like, if you just look at those together, it's just how it should be. Now, granted, EDG is the 2nd seed and RNG is the 1st seed. So maybe you're thinking, all right, 1st seed's going to be better than 2nd seed. I disagree there. I definitely disagree. I might not have as good of a case as Nox were, all right? But I think the matches speak for themselves. I think the records, I think the groups, they speak for themselves. Also, who won the LPL again?
So, okay. And I'm saying this because I think this is how the storyline will go. I think this is the narrative that will develop over the course of the bracket. We saw at MSI, bit of a surprise, RNG winning MSI over Damwon.
What do you mean a surprise?
Bit of a surprise, Curly, surprise. RNG winning over Damwon. Now, it's been said a couple times on the broadcast that Khan is in his final year as a pro player before heading off to military service. Presumably he could come back, but more likely would be as a coach or something like that, right? So Khan, this is his last shot to win another world championship, because I believe he's won before. Damwon also looking for a little bit of vengeance against RNG for the loss at MSI, regaining that Korean glory, that they need to bring back to the LCK. So that is why, in my opinion, RNG will win this series. RNG will defeat EDG.
Yes, sir.
Damwon will defeat T1 in semis. RNG will defeat Cloud9 in semifinals. On the way to a... We'll get back to that in a moment. On the way to a MSI Finals rematch with Damwon Kia. RNG, Damwon Kia, and Damwon Kia 3-2 in the finals over RNG, taking it back for the LCK. Signed, sealed, delivered. You've heard it here first. That is how the rest of this tournament is working out. You don't need to watch Worlds anymore. Save your sleep schedule. And, just check Lawpedia in about a month to see if I was right or not. But, there you go. I spoiled Worlds for you. Okay.
How could you do this, Sandy?
I'm taking the RNG angle on this one. All right, the final one. Cloud9, Gen G. I already spoiled my pick here. I'm taking them. I'm huffing that NA Hopium, boys. Cloud9 over Gen G. I think Cloud9 will, they'll flip the coin and their A-tier gameplay will come out. Their macro will shine. Blabber will not be Crabber today. He will, succeed in all of his Scuttle Crab moves. He will gank top lane immediately and set back Rascal or Birdall. Perks will outlane BDD. Sven and Vulcan will win lane against Ruler and Life. This is how it will go. Sven will get beautiful bullet times on the Misfortune. Perks will out Zoe, the Zoe god himself, BDD. Gen G will be so cocky that they'll leave up the LeBlanc against Perks, and he'll take it for yet another free win. I think it's just there. Look, Cloud9 got the easiest draw that they possibly could have. Gen G, they're good, but they are very fallible. There are very clear pathways to beating them. I think Cloud9, if they play their best, they have the ability and they have the mental resilience to stay competitive and win a best-of-5 against this team. Lock it in. Cloud9. Cloud9 to semis. Who says no?
I say no. I'm not gonna shit on you because I had my bout of EU Hopium there, so I get it. I get having Hopium for the West. But Gen G might not be the cleanest. I still think they're better than C9, man. It's just
sad. I don't like it.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I think C9 in a best of 5 is worse than C9 in a best of 1.
NA's last hope. That's all I'm saying.
NA's last hope. And hey, I'm still proud that we managed to get to quarterfinals. And that's a big thing for us. It's been a minute. We looked like we were falling, and maybe we'll be able to make it to semis next year. But
look, all I'm saying is that Gen G in Worlds last year, they dropped out in quarters to G2.
To G2.
Do you know what player was on G2 when Gen G lost?
Right?
No, Perks. Perks defeated Gen G last year in quarters in a clean 3-0. Now, I'm not saying it'll be another clean 3-0. In fact, I assume it's going to be a dirty and disgusting 3-2.
It's going to be a 3-1.
Yeah, that's how I'm seeing it. Cloud9 all the way, baby.
Alrighty. Noxwar, the voice of reason.
I'm going to have to side with Mr. Curly himself on this one. I am not huffing the NA Hopium.
Sag.
I have not been huffing the NA Hopium at all this
Sag.
tournament. Hey, you set your expectations low, you can only be pleasantly surprised.
Hey, right. That's a good point. Well, here's the thing is, I can still set my expectations low, but take C9 in my pick'ems, and then I'm proven right, and
which feels even better, right?
And it looks like really good. Down. I can literally pick them and then also not be shocked when they get 3-0'd by Genji.
True, facts.
It's like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if 0 NA teams get out, and I wouldn't be shocked if all 3 teams get out. So, and then only one managed to get out, and it was Cloud9. So
I will say this though, this is the best chance for C9.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if they somehow had been matched with Mad Lions, it's over. Really, actually, if they'd been matched with any other team, it's over.
Well, and unironically, I actually do think that that Cloud9 got the easiest possible path to finals. Now, I don't think that they will, beat RNG or EDG in a semi, but look who they don't have to play. Damwon or T1.
Or T1.
Like, if there was ever a year where an NA team could make a run to finals, this would be the year. And look, I mean, stranger things have occurred. Last year, who had Suning going to finals? Absolutely no one.
I think there was a total of 2 people, and they both predicted. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was a very small number.
No one had Suning going. Now, I'm not equating Cloud9 to like Suning, but it's still like somewhat comparable. A very underdog team. Yeah, it can happen for sure.
That's true. I guess we'll just have to see. We'll know next time by the podcast.
We will. We will know next time. That is for sure.
We'll be either fresh off of the Copium or chugging more Hopium.
Indeed.
In NA Memoriam.
But Mad Lions will still be in the semifinals.
Well, we'll...
Sorry, let me rephrase. We'll be in Western Memoriam.
We'll be in Western Memoriam. All right. That is the quarterfinals discussion. I have a take I want to throw out for the class real fast. Hang on. I'm going to sneeze real fast. Quick little mute there. Thank you, mute button on my mic. Here's the take. And it's not a unique one to me. I've seen this go around the scene a little bit. But LPL, China, they did not, as a region, choke. RNG, EDG still made it out of groups as expected, still performed pretty much to expectations in groups. It is FPX who choked as a team. FPX choked as a team. And then LNG, a team that got thrown into a group that was very competitive. Mad Lions, TL, and Genji, all comparable teams, clearly. They all went 1-1 against each other. It took a 4-way tiebreaker to figure out this group. LNG, I would argue, also played to expectations. It is simply just that FPX choked and did not perform to the level that they were expected to. This does not mean that LPL is now bad. This does not mean that LCK is the superior region. I still see a pathway where, RNG or EDG could absolutely turn it on in these best of fives and stomp their way to a world final and a championship. I think there's absolutely a pathway for that. But I don't think that the LPL is now, they're overrated. They're super overconfident and arrogant. No, I just think FPX did not play well on the day and got embarrassed. And that's really all there is to it. So that's my take there. I don't know how you guys feel about that take. If you have an alternative view, or if you agree, but that's how I've been feeling about that discussion, and I'm a little tired of people being like LPL sucks now. No, they don't. They're still really good.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there because LNG did perform as expected. RNG and EDG performed as expected. They got out. LNG in an even group, like you say. FPX definitely just shat the bed in week 2 on the group day, and that's unfortunate for them. But I don't think it's reflective of the LPL as a region. I still see them as the more powerful region overall. Even with Dam1 and the fact that LCK has all their teams out, I do think that has a good amount to do with potential format and other things. So,
Yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, undebatable, right? That FPX just choked the hell out of groups, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're just that was a choke like no other. That is the epitome of like all the choking memes that you can throw, like whatever. Like you guys have seen the memes from like China itself that have been posted on Reddit of like all the Chinese movies or whatever, and like FPX had logo like pasted on like their faces and whatnot, and like other goofy things happening to them, whatever. I've been having a field day watching that stuff. It's been funny. Point being though is I think you guys kind of nailed the hammer on the head with LNG, right? They were in a group that was extremely even. They were the 4th seed from China. I think they performed pretty much right at their expectations and what their level should have been. EDG is probably the only thing where I'm hesitant because I really do think they looked very shaky on week 2. They made it through, don't get me wrong, and it's part of the reason why I think RNG is going to beat them, but I don't trust EDG whatsoever. Yes, Rhodes, sorry, thank you. Hit the nail on the head.
Wait, what did you say instead?
I think I said hit the head on the nail, I
think. I'm changing the episode title to hit the head on the nail.
No, that's what we'll all be doing when we have to deal with the fact that C9 and Matt are out of contention.
I think a hammer hit me on the head there. Anyway, I just don't trust EDG though. They look super shaky going into week 2. I do think they weren't choking necessarily because they still made it out. They still made it through, but I'm nervous for them. And then I don't think RNG choked at all. I think Fnatic Fnatic just showed up for one game. That was the Fnatic we expected to see. They looked good. And Fnatic even looked good against the HLE game, too. I think Fnatic was there that week, too. They just couldn't clutch it, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
So for me, at the end of it, because the thing is, RNG comes back and they play HLE in a tiebreaker, and then they beat HLE in the tiebreaker, and they end up taking first in the group. So RNG definitely did not choke whatsoever. EDG makes me nervous as all get out. LNG met expectations. The only true choke was for sure FPX.
Yep. Yeah. So no more Reddit armchair analysis that LPL is an overrated region. They're still way better than North America. They're still much better than EU. So there's that. Do we want to do a little format discussion? Because I don't know about you, but I'm a little tired of the format. It's a little boring. Not boring. It just
it's gotten stale.
It's gotten stale. It is a stale format. And I think that was really evidenced by and again, I'm referencing something Travis Gafford was talking about on a couple Hotline League episodes, but for a moment there, we almost had 4 LCK and 4 LPL teams being the only ones making it out of groups. And we would have had an all LPL versus all LCK bracket.
Mm-hmm.
How boring would that have been? And then, then you've got the people who are just like, I just want to see the best League of Legends possible, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, at the end of the day, League it's an entertainment product, and you want to sell it to the most people possible. and that includes your Western viewership.
then
I feel that Riot really needs to maximize the opportunities that they have to show teams from as many regions as possible. And when you end up with a bracket stage that only consists of, or, you know, 3/4 of it consists of teams from just 2 regions, I think you're really losing out on a lot of opportunities. I think I've seen some solutions people have offered that, like, oh, third place in groups, you know, they automatically get seeded into a lower bracket, you know, where they only have one chance before getting knocked out. Or I've seen other things like, you know, split it into 2 groups of 8 or something similar. So, you know, there are a lot of possibilities. Noxwar has sent us something, the 2023 Path to Worlds format and schedule.
Oh
my word.
Let me clarify real quick. So I got into a discussion with J336B.
Oh my gosh, bro. What the heck?
This is crazy.
So we got talking back and forth about what an optimal Worlds format and Worlds schedule would look like. And so and I don't want you showing this on stream yet. It's not finished. I'm still working on it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, this is like my proposition for what a format leading up to Worlds would look like, with actual dates and scheduling for each and every region, as well as Worlds itself. So if you give me another week, we can get into more depth and detail.
Wow, I think this is definitely once you have this complete, I think we give you a segment in the post Worlds.
I think
like,
this is just a video.
up.
No, this is just like a video that needs to go up.
Absolutely. This is
wow. When y'all see this is pretty.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's well thought out.
It's very well thought out. It looks great.
Not completed yet by any means, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different format possibilities out there. The way that Valorant Champions Tour does some of their stuff is really interesting, where you know, they have 4 teams per group, but then it's basically like a double elimination bracket straight from the get-go. They do it in, like, you know, best of 3s to start. Say that again.
It's Swiss format.
Yeah. So yeah, best of 3s. I mean, maybe you could make the argument that you should keep 2 best of 5s. But you know, I think there's a lot of arguments to be made for you know, cutting best of 1s entirely. You know, various other options, but, you know, really maximizing the amount of time that teams, you know, have on screen and playing.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of arguments for a lot of formats. I think could also go into double elimination possibilities, et cetera, et cetera. But here's something I propose to add, especially because one of the fundamental flaws is that we almost had an LCK versus LPL knockouts, which would have, like you said, been boring. What if we just take away a seed from China and Korea and give it to Brazil and CIS, or like LG? I'd say the LJL maybe even.
LJL and OS.
Yes, they're bad right now.
Huh?
I was gonna say not Brazil or CIS right now.
Yeah, not Brazil or CIS. Yeah, but like maybe LJL, maybe TCL, maybe even give PCS a third one.
So,
you know?
Actually, statistically, right now, the best quote unquote emerging regions right now are actually, believe it or not, the LCO, Oceania, and the LGL. They are the 2 best performing emerging regions.
That makes
sense to me. Even the PCS reasoning is actually super possible too.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's something that we could absolutely look into, because, like, sure, you're rewarding China and Korea for being dominant teams, but then you're like, really making it so it's not a world's tournament at that point, you know? Because,
Yeah,
like,
I
even
think
with the Olympics, everyone gets a shot. Even if they don't have a shot, they get it, you know?
yeah, or you could look at something like how the World Cup does things.
Mm-hmm.
The World Cup, a large chunk of the teams are from Europe, from UEFA,
Mm-hmm.
but then the North America slash like Central America region, gets a set number of teams. So does South America. So does Africa. So does like the what is it like the Oceania Asia region is how they do it. Now, but for them, they have it's a 32 team tournament, actually going up to 48 if I'm not mistaken, in the future. So, and now here's the thing: they have the countries to be able to do that. Like they have the teams and the depth required for that. I think there is argument to be made that if you're going to change the format, you also might need to expand the tournament and expand the number of teams coming in total. I don't know if you take it all the way to like a 32, but certainly, um, you could do something where maybe you end up with like 24 teams in a group stage, top two all qualify, and then you have like two brackets of six, or you just like there's a lot of different formats you could explore. I think the point being is that clearly there's been enough clamor from the community, and now I've been seeing from a lot of broadcast personalities, analysts, coaches, players, that at the minimum, double elimination would be very nice to have. And I fully agree. I mean, just imagine this bracket with double elimination tacked on. So, like, let's presume that I nail my pick'ems, right? So, in semis, you have RNG versus Cloud9 and T1 versus Dom1. Meanwhile, in the losers bracket, you have perhaps Mad versus Hanwha Life and Genji versus EDG. Don't those also sound like awesome, matchups that people would definitely want to watch? And maybe you put those in like maybe these first quarterfinals and that first round of losers bracket is like best of 3 instead of best of 5, and then semis and further on is best of 5 just for time considerations. But those sound like awesome matchups to me that I would absolutely love to watch, even if it's in a best of 3 scenario.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think a lot of the community right now is just clamoring for having double elimination in
Yeah.
general. But there's like I don't know if it's a vocal minority or if it's even a minority at all, but there is definitely pushback though, saying like, no, single elimination makes it more tense, makes it more all the more special for when teams actually do move on, so on and so forth. And I see the arguments for it, but I think a majority of people are starting to swap to the idea of like, hey, double elimination, at least for storytelling narrative, as well as ensuring that we understand who is actually the best team at this tournament, is
Yeah.
starting to slowly sway the community in general.
I think you could actually keep the entire group stage the same, and like qualifying for it and everything the same, and then just literally add double elimination to knockout stage. You just make quarterfinals in the first round of losers best of 3 instead, for scheduling purposes, so that you could run like 2 a day basically, and then that would make bracket stage even way more exciting than it already is, and provide a lot of interesting narrative options and a lot of incentive to keep watching even after your team takes an L immediately. So knowing that Cloud9 has a second shot even after getting booty blasted by Gen G would feel very nice. So or even Mad having a second shot after getting booty blasted by Damwon. So
Like they're going to.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay. Format discussion complete. Worlds groups discussion complete, I believe. I think we've hit on pretty much everything that we wanted to. Did you fellas have any final chatter to get to, or are we going to let Curly get some sleep?
Going to bed? What is this?
Oh no, I'm definitely not going to bed after this. But my brain is. We're getting to the end of the
Getting to the end of it. All right. Well, we will wrap up the show. Flight Check. That is us. Season 1.5, episode 4. You can catch the entire VOD of this episode here on Twitch or on YouTube. You can also catch the audio version on Spotify and all of your favorite audio platforms. Wherever you like to listen to podcasts, we are there. We normally do the show every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We moved it to Wednesday this week to accommodate Curly's little mini vacation. We will be back to Monday night next week, right after C9 destroys Gen G in their quarterfinal matchup. So we'll be able to firsthand react to that matchup and keep huffing that NA Hopium all the way to a Worlds final and a championship. I can't wait to see Fudge hoist the Summoner's Cup. It'll be a really good time.
How big will he be at that point?
He will be the size of the known universe. You can follow the show at Flight Check Crew on Twitter. Feel free to also join our Discord, where we do discuss League of Legends and any other FlyQuest related activity. The off-season window is fast approaching, and there's already been some interesting news and things occurring, so be sure to join up, where we can have a nice, fun little space to discuss all your relevant FlyQuest news. You can follow myself at SantosDB, Nox at NoxWar with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly_Q_. We promise someday he'll be able to get rid of that extra underscore, and he'll just be Curly_Q. We Namen and RNG. No, what is the Monka Prey or whatever the emote is?
Monka
Prey. For that one to happen. All right, that is everything. Nox, Curly, any quick shout-outs or plugs? Anything interesting going on? Nox, starting with you.
Yeah. No, go Nox.
Okay then. Spoiler alert, pick'ems for the FlyQuest Discord come out tomorrow at approximately 1 p.m. PST, so keep an eye out open for that. Winners for the group stage will be announced, I want to say 2 p.m. PST. Drek is still debating on what time he wants to announce those at, so keep an eye open for who won group stage around that time as well.
They did put up a top 25 leaderboard today, didn't they?
They did, yes, and there was a 4-way tie for first, but we have tiebreaker rules, in which case the leader or the winner for that will be announced later on tomorrow. Road is asking me to remind people, yes, he has the Tim Kench contest. Please make sure you get all your submissions in by the 31st, if I'm remembering that correctly. So make sure you send those via DM to Road Roller in the FlyQuest Discord. Outside of that, pretty much all I got. I'm playing the crap out of Set 6 TFT. If anyone wants to play with me at any point, I'm having a great time with that.
Are you? Is it only on the PBE right now?
Yeah, it'll be on live in 2 weeks.
Okay, cool. When it goes on live, I will play with you for sure.
Well, I was gonna say, y'all know what a new set means, right?
Another Nox War tournament?
Another Nox War tournament? I was like, new ranked season, new qualifiers for Worlds, anyway. Yeah, new Nox tournament. Oh boy, get excited for that one. Always a good time.
Yeah.
Curly, any shout-outs for you?
So I'd like to start out by shouting out FPX, C9, and TL for absolutely obliterating my pick'ems by
Same.
underperforming and overperforming respectively. And so thank you for all of you guys. Not sure I can confidently say I'll win anymore, but hey, I got some NA Hopium out of it. That's all right. I would also like to shout out my roommate's cat for chilling with me today during my entire stream. It was really nice. I did miss him during my mini vacation. I see him as a son, and I will cry when I move out of this apartment next year and I don't get to see him anymore. But that's a problem for later. But most importantly, shout out to you guys for being so accommodating of me being out of town, being unable to do this on Monday, and for willing to push it back just so I could be here. I really appreciate it. And you guys,
Absolutely.
yeah, and then also for providing a safe space for me to open my hot take oven.
Hey, we will always be ready with what do they call them? Pot holders, whatever, ready to throw open that oven door and bake those takes. I don't really have any shout outs. Shout out to you guys. Hey, thank you everyone. Thank you especially to 100 Talk Pod for retweeting hey, we're one follower away from 100, because that got us like 13 new followers, and now we are at a crisp 113. Thank you. So that's nice. That's a good feeling. Thank you to everyone who followed. So shout out to all 14 of you that followed, and 100 Talk Pod especially for that lovely retweet. Well, this has been Flight Check, Season 1.5, Episode 4 will be back next Monday night. But thank you so much for watching. I hope all of you have a fantastic evening, day, afternoon, wherever you are. Hope all of you stay safe out there. And remember to hit the hammer. No, wait, hang on, I messed it up. Hit the head on the nail. That is the new sign off for the show. Remember to always hit the head on the nail. We'll see you all real soon. Adios.
Peace, y'all.